Hey guys, today's a quick video on what does it look like to pay the price of change, because there's always going to be a cost involved. And so as you think about what do you want to be true going forward, do you want to make, some tweaks or some overhauls in your life? Do you want to do something different with health and nutrition? Do you want to do something different with emotional health? Do you want to do something different with finances? Do you want to do something different in relationships? There's many areas where we might contemplate doing some sort of shift or some sort of tweak, and it's going to have a cost, because anytime we make a change, there's going to have to be some shifts. There's going to be something that has to come off the plate before we put something new on the plate, or at least often that's true. And so it's very common for people to say, I can't right now, I don't have the time. There's 100 different barriers about why something doesn't work. And I want to prompt you into a little bit of an understanding that yes, change has a cost. It definitely does. But so does staying the same. And so if we play out the movie of things run exactly as they are right now, and we extrapolate that out over the next, 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, whatever that looks like, do you end up in the place where you want to end up? Is that what's going to bring you closer to your goals, to your objectives, to finding your purpose, finding your mission and calling? Does everything as it is right now, play that out, does that get you where you want to go? And if it doesn't, you have to ask the question of, when am I willing to start making some tweaks or some overhauls? When am I going to start shifting into a different space of reaching towards something that I want to be true, knowing that there's going to be a price to pay? But a lot of times it's short-term cost for a long-term payoff. So if I have certain nutrition goals or certain health goals, there is going to be me getting into a new groove, and that's going to have some recalibration and some growing pains. But in the short term, while that might be true, in the long term, there's this payoff that plays out. In the short term, if I have to really kind of buckle down on my finances, it's going to have a short-term cost, but it's going to have a long-term payoff. One of my favorite things that Dave Ramsey says is that you live like no one else so you can live and give like no one else. And he talks about finances. I want to extrapolate that out to every area of life. What if in your mental health right now, you committed to sitting with someone and reorganizing and restructuring things and finding identity and figuring out your missions for the next year? And then for the next decades, there's a payoff because you've done the work. What if for the next year you commit to new fitness goals, and in a year you're where you want to be, and then you ride maintenance going forward? Short-term cost, long-term payoff. What if you're in relational despair right now, and you come to see someone, or you attend a workshop, or you go to some sort of conference, and you and your significant other sit in the griminess of sorting through new behaviors, and you practice it for the next year, and then your relationship moves in a completely new direction? There is a cost to staying the same. There is a cost to changing. Either way, you pay the price. I want you to think through, are there tweaks, are there overhauls, are there shifts you want to be making? And if you're not willing to make them now, if you're waiting for a different season where it's more convenient, I want to urge you to consider, what if that more convenient season doesn't show up? Because in many of our stories, it doesn't, because we're so locked into the day-to-day, we lose sight of the macro perspective. But the macro perspective, that time runs out eventually. And so I want you to consider, you're going to pay a price either way. If you show up and do new things, or if you stay in whatever pattern you're in and you keep repeating the things you're doing now, which one gets you where you want to go?